Hi, I'm Kat, and today I'm showing you how to make this miniature blender whose lid removes and you can fill with miniature crushed ice for your favorite miniature beverages or smoothies. Starting off, I'm using a piece of plastic packaging, and I've cut that into a shape you can't really see, so I'm going to draw it out for you. It looks like this, and then this way this rolls up into a perfect tapered cylinder. Smaller at the bottom, larger at the top. And I glued this in place, just overlapping the edges slightly. I'm using E6000 to glue, but I also use super glue in this video. On the bottom, I tacked another piece of plastic packaging. It's not a perfect circle, and it's just temporary. I'm going to pull this off later. But for now, I'm just using a piece of wire that I've stuck into it, and I'm using that to hold it without smudging the resin with my fingertips. And I am coating my plastic with resin. I like to coat any sort of plastic with resin if I want it to look like glass. So I'm doing that there, and this will add durability and a heftier appearance. Now I use a piece of straw that I've cut off and added a little bit of resin into it, maybe 2 drops. And for the canister lid, I indented my canister top into a small piece of clay and into another piece of clay. So the first piece, I cut out both pieces. One piece is smaller than the other. And so working with the larger piece, I'm going to flatten that against the ground on the other side. And then I'm going to push this little clear peg inside of it. That's just going to hold the place where that's going to go later. Cut it out with your X-Acto. And then I'm using a little liquid clay to secure that inside. You can bake it at this point if you'd like, but I didn't. I went on ahead and flipped it over and added the smaller piece to the bottom. Again, I'm using liquid clay for this. And then using another piece of clay, I'm going to indent the bottom, cut that out, and just put that to the side for later. For right now, I'm going to go on ahead and start on my blades, and I'm using an aluminum tea light candle piece, and I'm making a little kind of a semi-S shape. Go on ahead and cut that out and make 2 of them. Then I'm using tweezers and pliers to bend the sides up just slightly. And then glue them to the bottom of the canister base that I just made. Once both pieces are glued in place, I'm using a tiny little piece of clay to put on top, and that will just look like it's securing them. And then I baked it at that point and stacked that on another piece of clay. Now I'm going to cut this one out at an angle so that it angles outwards. So for right now, I'm just going to indent this piece in, and that way I have the shape of the bottom, but I want it broader at the bottom than it is at the top. So I'm going to taper it out. That's done with cutting out smaller segments and then shaping with your ball tool. A drop of liquid clay to secure everything, and then blend it with your ball tool. But don't worry too much about this because you can go on ahead and use extra black clay to cover all the seams later. And then finally this piece gets stacked on top of another piece that I'm now cutting into a square. And then that piece gets stacked on to another piece. And another piece to make it a little bit broader. I'm gently tapering it out with every single piece that I added onto, with every single layer. There. The canister, I went on ahead and used to shape a handle to it. But remember, this canister is plastic and it cannot go in the oven. So I had to take the handle off and bake it separately, as well as my blender base. And then I went on ahead and sanded it. And then I'm adding on a tiny front panel. This is just to hold my control panel buttons. And the control panel is made out of a piece of aluminum from Tea-Light Candle again. And push that in. We're using a combination of your tweezers and your fingers until it's slightly pushed into the clay. It will hold that way, but you can use a little liquid clay if you feel safer about it. And finally, a small panel of buttons. Glue those on top of your aluminum. And while that's drying, you can go on ahead and paint on your details. And since you've got your black paint out, you might as well give the entire blender base and the handle a coating of black paint. Don't forget to do the lid too. Now on the seam of my canister, I'm going ahead and adding a little super glue. And now I'm going to stick my baked handle on there. Now glue your canister to your base, glaze everything, and it's ready. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.